The fire crackled and popped. Sparks danced up into the big, dark night. The trees of the forest stood around you like tall, silent giants. You children were all gathered close, your faces warm and glowing in the firelight. High above, on a thick branch, sat an old owl. His eyes were wide and yellow like two shiny moons. He ruffled his feathers and let out a soft hoo-hoo. He wanted to tell you a story, a very special story. It was about a hero. Not a hero with a sword or a shield, but a hero with feathers and a very brave heart. The owl blinked slowly. "Listen closely, little ones," he hooted, his voice a low, gentle rumble. "Tonight I will tell you of Josip." He was not a mighty eagle nor a swift hawk, he was a pigeon. But he was the bravest pigeon I have ever known. He was a mail carrier, you see, not for birthday cards or letters to your grandma. No, Josip carried the most important messages in the whole world, top secret messages, messages that could change everything. He flew for a special group called the World Peace Federation, and his job was very dangerous indeed. He paused, letting the wind whisper through the leaves. The sound made the story feel even more exciting. Josip was not the biggest pigeon, the owl continued. He was not the fanciest with colourful feathers. He was just a simple grey pigeon. But his eyes were bright and clever. He knew how to read the wind, he knew how to find his way using the stars. And most importantly, he had a heart full of courage. A heart so big and so brave that it made him stronger than any other bird in the sky. He was ready for any adventure that came his way. "So, snuggle into your blankets," the owl cooed. "Let the fire keep you warm. And let my story take you on a journey across the world. You will fly with Josip over tall mountains and deep oceans. You will see things you have only dreamed of. And you will learn that even the smallest creature can do the greatest things. Are you ready? Good. Then our story begins. It begins not here in this quiet forest, but far away under the hot sun of Peru, where Josip was given his first mission. Josip stood tall on a rooftop in Peru. The sun was hot on his feathers. Below him, the city was a noisy, bustling place. A kind man from the World Peace Federation gently tied a tiny, secret scroll to Josip's leg. The message was very important. It had to be delivered to a snowy mountain in Japan. It was a long, long way to fly. Other pigeons would have been scared. They would have cooed and shuffled their feet, but not Josip. He puffed out his chest. He was proud. He was ready. This was his job. He was a messenger for peace. He took a deep breath of the warm air. He looked at the map in his mind. He saw the great ocean he must cross. He saw the tall mountains he must climb. He knew there would be dangers. There were always dangers. Storms could toss him about. Hawks could try to catch him. But Josip was clever. He was a brilliant flyer. He could twist and turn in the air like a falling leaf. He could dive so fast that he looked like a grey streak of lightning. He was not just a pigeon, he was an artist of the sky. With a powerful flap of his wings, Josip launched himself into the air. "Coo, coo," he called, which meant, "I am on my way." He circled once above the city, getting his bearings. He felt the wind under his wings lifting him higher and higher. The world below grew smaller and smaller. The people looked like tiny ants. He was alone now, just him and the big blue sky. He pointed his beak towards the east, towards the rising sun and the distant land of Japan. His heart beat strong and steady. The adventure had begun. His journey took him over vast green jungles. Monkeys chattered in the trees below, and colourful parrots flew beside him for a while, curious about the little grey bird flying with such purpose. Josip did not stop to play. He knew his mission was too important. He flew on, steady and determined. He flew through fluffy white clouds that felt like soft cotton. He flew over blue rivers that snaked through the land like shiny ribbons. He was Josip, the fearless flyer, and nothing would stop him from delivering his message. Flying over the great wide ocean was the hardest part. For days and nights there was nothing but blue water below and blue sky above. Sometimes the water was calm and glassy. Other times a storm would rise up like an angry monster. The wind would howl. Rain would whip at his feathers, making them heavy. Huge waves would crash below. In these moments, Josip had to fly with all his might. He battled the wind, his small body fighting against the powerful gusts. He never thought of giving up. He only thought of the secret message he carried. One day, as he flew near a rocky island, danger appeared from above. A huge, hungry hawk with sharp eyes and even sharper talons spotted him. The hawk dove straight for Yseph, thinking he would be an easy meal. But Yseph was ready. He twisted sideways in a flash. The hawk missed, swooshing past with a whoosh of feathers. Yseph didn't fly away in a panic. He was clever. He flew straight towards the sharp, pointy rocks of the island. He knew he was smaller and could turn more quickly than the big hawk. He zipped and zoomed through narrow gaps between the rocks. The hawk tried to follow, but was too big and clumsy. It scraped a wing on a sharp stone and screeched in frustration. Yseph led the hawk on a dizzying chase, weaving in and out, up and down. Finally, the hawk gave up. It soared away to find an easier dinner. Yseph rested for a moment on a cliff, his heart beating fast. He had escaped. He shook his feathers, took a sip of water from a small puddle, and then took to the sky again. The mission had to continue, but it wasn't just hawks. There were other dangers too. One night, while flying over a dark and shadowy city, bright lights suddenly flashed all around him. Loud bangs echoed in the air. Bang, bang, bang! These were bullets. Some bad people on the ground were trying to shoot him down. They knew he was a messenger for peace, and they wanted to stop him. Joseph's heart pounded. He flew in a wild zigzag pattern. He dove down low, then shot straight up high. He was faster than their aim. He was a blur of grey in the night sky, a bullet-dodging hero. He thought he had escaped. He was flying high above the city lights, leaving the danger far behind. But you know, one of the bad men had a very good aim. A final stray bullet shot through the dark. It did not hit Yoseph's body, but it grazed his wing. A sharp pain shot through him. It felt like fire. He cried out, "Coo!" It was a cry of pain. He faltered in the air, one wing suddenly weak and clumsy. For a terrifying moment he started to fall, tumbling down, down, down towards the dark streets below. But even as he fell, Yseph did not give up. He looked at the tiny scroll tied to his leg. He remembered the kind man in Peru. He remembered the people in Japan who were waiting for his message. He remembered he was flying for peace. That thought gave him a new strength. He would not fail. He could not fail. With a mighty effort he forced his injured wing to beat. Flap, flap, it hurt so much, but he ignored the pain. He fought to stay in the air, flying unevenly, but flying all the same. He found a safe, quiet rooftop to land on. He was tired and hurt. His wing throbbed with pain. He gently cleaned his wound with his beak. He knew he needed to rest just for a little while. He watched the stars come out, twinkling above him. Any other pigeon would have stopped. They would have found a nice place to stay and waited for their wing to heal. But Yseph knew that time was running out. The message he carried was a message to stop a war. Every moment he delayed, more lives were in danger. So, after only a short rest, Yseph stood up. He stretched his good wing, then, carefully, he stretched his injured one. The pain was still there, but his brave heart was stronger. He took a deep, determined breath. He had to finish his mission. For the sake of peace, he had to fly again. With a brave coo, he pushed off the rooftop. It was harder now. He had to flap his good wing twice as hard to make up for the weak one. He flew slower, but he flew with more determination than ever before. He was Yseph, the wounded hero, and he would not be stopped. Finally, after many more days of difficult flight, Yseph saw it. The snowy peak of a mountain in Japan, just like on his mental map. Mount Fuji stood tall and beautiful against the morning sky. He was here. He had made it. He gathered the last of his strength and flew towards a small, quiet temple nestled on the mountainside. A woman in a gentle blue robe was waiting for him. She was the one who was meant to receive the message. She saw him coming, flying crookedly, and her face filled with concern and wonder. Yseph landed softly on her outstretched arm. He was exhausted. He could barely stand. The woman carefully untied the secret scroll from his leg. She unrolled it and read the words. A huge smile spread across her face. She looked at Yseph with tears in her eyes. "You did it, little one," she whispered. "You brought the message of peace. You have stopped the war." The scroll contained a plan, a special agreement that would make two angry countries become friends again. Because of Yseph, many, many lives would be saved. News of Joseph's bravery spread like wildfire. Pigeons from all over the world heard the story. They heard how he had crossed the ocean. They heard how he had outsmarted the hawk. They heard how he had dodged the bullets and flown on with an injured wing. They were all so proud of him. When Yseph was finally well enough to fly home, a huge celebration was waiting for him. Thousands of pigeons gathered. They cooed and flapped their wings, making a sound like soft thunder. It was a hero's welcome. The head of the World Peace Federation placed a tiny, shiny medal around Joseph's neck. It gleamed in the sun. For courage, for dedication, for saving so many, the man said. All the pigeons cooed louder than ever. They threw flower petals into the air. Yseph, standing tall and proud, looked at all his friends and admirers. He was no longer just a simple grey pigeon. He was Josip the hero. And with a happy heart he puffed out his chest, dipped his head, and took a little bow.